Hello and welcome to Today in the News for June 19th, 2025. I hope you're enjoying this little era of experimentation, and I hope you press that like and subscribe to boost me in the eyes of my algorithmic masters. They control me. I am subservient. Lord Banker Jesus, Mark Carney, is off to Brussels next week. He says that this time it is to deepen trade relationships and climate action. The Bank of Canada is worried that there is a risk of seeing major inflation if the trade deal between Canada and the United States isn't figured out soon. Inflation has decimated normal Canadians these past 4 years, from 2020 to 2025, and there was a total inflation of around 18%. It has cooled off recently, and now we're seeing a normal amount of inflation. Considering that most people don't have an 18% pay rise, it would be devastating to most of us to see another huge inflationary thing happen again. Canada and India have reinstated high commissioners in each other's countries. A high commissioner is, quote, the most senior person commissioned by a government of international organization to perform a specified role, in particular, the highest ranking diplomat among those commissioned to represent one Commonwealth country in another. Well, this thawing of relationships comes at the end of years of tensions between two nations, ever since Justin Trudeau alleged that the killing of Hardeep Najjar was credibly linked to the Indian government. This was a few years ago, you might not remember it, huge diplomatic incident that has caused severe backlash and problems for things such as vaccine production. The tax cut proposed by the Mark Carney government, although they said during the election that it would save $840 per family in 2026, the Parliamentary Budget Office has come out with real numbers. It will be saving people $380 a year in a two-income household. So half the amount they promised. Probably a quarter of the average one-bedroom rent in Toronto. Meanwhile, it will cost the Canadian Treasury more than $4 billion total to rise to $6 billion by 2029. This is absolutely insane, considering that this $4 billion is something that we need in a time where services are terrible, underfunded, and Canadians are stuck waiting for an eternity for everything from medical services, which is a provincial jurisdiction, I admit, to passports, which is not a provincial jurisdiction, it is a federal jurisdiction. People are waiting ages to get their passports, to get their visas, anything that you want to talk about, it is taking forever because the government is so inefficient. $4 billion less funding per year will likely have long-term consequences for every single one of us. All right, but let's do some good news. Bill C-3 is allowing for children born abroad to Canadian parents to be given citizenship. This is a good thing, considering the hoops that people would have to previously jump through to prove their parents were Canadian, or the effort required to secure citizenship if your child was born while abroad. I would like to highlight that the controversial and highly problematic Bill C-5 is being rushed through the House today in order to be passed, if possible, tomorrow, as the last sitting of this session of the House of Commons is tomorrow, Friday, June 20th. This bill has many aspects that lawyers and advocates are deeming to be unconstitutional, likely ignoring treaty rights and posing serious problems in regards to consultation with the provinces and the territories. Whether this bill is able to be passed or not is not for me, a journalist, to determine, but it is likely to face great scrutiny in the courts and possibly will not be passed or will be blocked by the courts. We will find out what happens in the following weeks. The government has also tabled a bill called Bill C-8, which is almost identical to Bill C-26, a bill that died because of the prorogation of Parliament by Justin Trudeau, which led to Mark Carney being elected, becoming our Prime Minister, and the election a couple months ago. It is a bill respecting cybersecurity and has some major privacy concerns to me. I need to do a deep dive into it, but this is the third bill in 3 weeks that the government is trying to pass that would give them sweeping powers around private information. Bill C2 and C4 are seriously problematic, and Michael Geist, once again, he wrote an excellent article that was called "What is with this government and privacy?" I'll link it, in my notes, and I'll put it right on my screen up here, but man, I'll update when I learn more. I need to study it. So for now, don't panic. I don't think it's going to pass tomorrow. Hopefully we can figure out how this is going to affect us before it goes through. We also have a bill respecting supply management, blocking trade deals or concessions within negotiations about Canadian supply management. It's causing some prickly skins, some little porcupine MPs over in the parliament, and Yves-François Blanchet had a great line, as per usual. He's really good at one-liners. If Canada does not want to be the 51st state, it should stop behaving like one. We can't not take these decisions on the basis that it will offend Donald Trump. It's a good point, and one that maybe the Carney government should take note of. Maybe they should learn that, because right now, Carney, the Lord Banker Jesus himself, seems to be bending over backwards for King Donald and his insanity. I want to end today with a report I read this morning about the population of Quebec decreasing a small amount. It was a very interesting report to read. The Journal de Montréal tends to be xenophobic a bit, but sometimes I find their reports to be really well written and factual, and this is one of them. It says that this is the first time since 2015, other than the pandemic, that the population of the nation has gone down. We sit at over 9.1 million in our province now, which is a little less than before, and this is seemingly due to the reduction in temporary foreign workers. So let's talk about temporary foreign workers for a second. We have had a labor shortage for some years, apparently around skilled trades and whatnot, and that was causing companies to decry the laziness of all the kids these days. That Gen Z, an exceptional group of people, by the way, were the worst, and they were lazy. That's what everyone was saying. All these articles written about it, all these op-eds that were talking about how lazy Gen Z is. Gen Z isn't lazy, and the labor shortage isn't really real. What we have is not a labor shortage. It is a misnomer given by large businesses interested in controlling media and the narrative. The narrative spun by a government that cares about business and not people. No. What we have right now, and this is during my discussion with John Milton from the CCPA and an interview I did with the Rover. Now, what we have right now is a salary shortage. That is what they talk about at the CCPA. The CCPA is the Center for Canadian Policy Alternatives, which is a group that thinks about alternative solutions and understands. It's a research group that understands better the problems we are facing in society. People's labor is worth something. So go on LinkedIn. There are millions of jobs in every single field, and yet no one can find a high-paying job. Why is that? Why is that? That is because these companies want to pay people as little as possible. They refuse to hire people for their actual work. Gen Z and millennials are walking out of university with the most education in human history, with master's degrees, with PhDs, asking to be paid properly. Companies then won't pay it and prefer to pay foreign temporary workers significantly less for significantly more work. This is an unjust system that disadvantages and abuses both foreigners who moved here looking for a better life, hoping to make some real money for a little while, hoping to make money in Canada, use that money to better their life at home maybe to build a life here, not sure, depends on the person. But it also disadvantages Canadians who are born here. It disadvantages everyone. This system was called by the United Nations a breeding ground for modern slavery. That is an astounding and shocking statement about a Canadian institution that should cause all of us discomfort. At a time where corporations are making record high profits, especially grocery stores like Provigo, Canadians can't be hired for appropriate wages and being ripped off for their housing prices. And then we invite foreign workers, normal, good people, to come suffer what is akin to slavery at the hands of corporate dominance in our culture. Sometimes a population decrease is okay, and I would like to see that continue for some time. Let in refugees, let in asylum seekers, although Bill C2 is, trying to kick out asylum seekers, so that's a whole different thing though. But our visa system, which is subjecting good people to horrible conditions, needs a huge rethink. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that this was informative. All of this is still in the experimental stage, so please throw me feedback, tell me how to improve, hit that like, hit that subscribe, comment to your heart's content, share this video. Much love to all of you, and I will see you soon.